Hi, I am the creator of the Weeping Witch and Omneiris, and today I will be drawing a purple witch. So for November I've decided to do a series of illustration of basically rainbow witches, inspired by Uvember. And so far I've drawn a red witch, an orange witch, a yellow witch, a green witch, and a blue witch. And now it's time for the purple witch. Each color is associated with a different coven of the witches of Omneiris, and purple is no different. The purple witches are seers. They can see the future in visions, and the tattoo representing their coven is a big eye on their forehead. Really, did I mention that witches are not very subtle? Now, divination is a craft that basically any witch can do, and well, really anybody in Omneiris can do, with tarot cards and stuff like that, like dice or pendule thing. So yeah, it's a craft anybody can do, but it's mostly based on guesswork and really general wording, while the seers witches actually see the future. I'll mention them now because that's when they're still a bit visible, but the animal I decided to associate with this witch is frogs. So they are tiny frogs, one on her hat brim, one in her hand, and one on the crystal on the right. And they're really tiny and super cute, and not really visible in the finished illustration because I didn't put enough contrast and they were so small that I could barely color them in. So yeah, there are some little cute froggies in there somewhere. And really the only reason I decided to go for frogs was because I couldn't really think of anything else. There are not that many purple animals, I guess. And I found this really cute picture of a purple frog on Pinterest and I really liked it, so little frogs. And then I added a bunch of crystals in the, well, it's not really the background, but around the witch, I suppose. And I don't know, I just felt like purple would be a good color for these. It's pretty geometrical and abstract too, like time, which is, by the way, not a concept in Omneiris. They don't have time, they have music, I suppose. Like the fates is a concept that is in several mythologies in our world, and I decided to include it in my world. So there's past, present, and future. But they are the children of the goddess of fate. And so fate is what dictates the flow of events. And fate is actually a symphony, like there's the great symphony of fate being composed by the goddess of fate. And so it's all a big music analogy, I think is the word. Oh god, I don't know what I'm talking about. But yeah, the time passing by is like beats and notes and measures and verses for long-lived species who care about fate. Because the humans are short-lived, so they count time with like the threads of life. So it's more like a stitch, a knot, a loop, a row, a pattern, and stuff like that. So yeah, I really didn't make things easy on myself. But anyway, I decided to add the 5 lines of music score to symbolize that it's, music which is associated with fate, which she does see with her powers for this witch. And I also added some arrows because, once again, like in our world on Earth, we use arrows to symbolize like the passing of time, like it's moving forward. And I was trying to find something for this drawing, and I did have a little bit of a hard time finding inspiration for this design. And I'm really sad about it because purple is my favorite color. And it's not my favorite drawing I made. So I'm really sad. And I mentioned it in previous drawings that the colors don't feel weird after some time using them. I think I said that during the Green Witch video, where I mentioned that some of the greens were just blue at that point and others were more yellow. And well, for this purple witch, I really felt it. I felt like I was working with blue and pink markers and that it didn't look purple. And admittedly, the purples I used for the background are pretty bluish, and the markers I used for the witch are pretty pink. And so I couldn't see purple anymore by the time I was done with this illustration. But when it is next to the others, it does look purple. So that's the point, I guess. But I did have less purples than I did blue, and might have... Oh, I have the same number of pinks and purples. But I did have less purple than blues, so I couldn't really afford to take the bluish purples and make them blue. So yeah, I don't have a lot of purples, and I kind of used all of them for the crystals, I think. So once again, more thorough planning might have helped make this better. But I'm still not mad about the composition and the design overall. I think it works. And the frogs are really cute. That makes it all worth it. Cute frogs. Didn't realize how cute frogs were until I drew them. Anyway, I'm adding details and texture with my paint markers, fine liners, and colored pencils. Which also means finally defining the face, giving her a nose and lashes. And also actually drawing the eyes everywhere, because like she has one on her forehead, she has a head, an eye pendant on a necklace, and I just couldn't draw them properly with my alcohol markers because my brush tips are still too white for this level of detail. Which is why I'm using these fine liners. Oh gosh, I can't pronounce anything. So yeah, this illustration felt like using two colors instead of one, since I was basically using bluish purples and pink purples. But it's purple. So it works, it's the challenge. I sorted my art supplies and these were purple. So yeah. I forgot to detail the hands. So I came back with fine liners for that at the end. While adding more shadows on my color pencils. I really couldn't stop. I kept seeing things that I wanted to add. And my left hand was trying to remove the tape, but then my right hand would pick some art supply and keep going. But I managed to finish it. And here is the close-up. as usual, here is everything I've used for this illustration. Thank you for watching and stay tuned for part 7.